Coming up on Cronkite Sports Now, the first Arizona high school football game of the year has been canceled due to a positive COVID-19 case. A major controversy from the Phoenix Rising, and the Cardinals have a new face in the secondary. Hey there, and welcome into a Friday's edition of Cronkite Sports Now. I'm Reed Harmon, and it's spooky season, so I hope everyone's wearing their costumes, or at least a mask. Coaches should be wearing those on every sideline this season in high school football, as the AIA has implemented new safety protocols for COVID-19, which also include no post-game handshakes between opposing teams. These protocols will be put in place and start on Friday night as kickoff begins. Enough practice and anticipation. High school football under the bright lights begin on Friday night, and teams are ready to roll, including coaches wearing mandated face coverings for safety reasons.
We don't have a fine for the coach or anything like that, but we sanction games and we provide the officials. And if you can't follow the required procedures, then we won't assign officials, which means there's no game.
There are far too many games to monitor all of the sidelines each week, so the AIA has evaluators set to monitor as much as they can.
And what we're doing is paying attention mainly to help remind people we have to follow through.
I got to wear a mask. They better wear a mask. That's the bottom line. If that's what the rules are, you got to follow them.
Coaches and personnel must keep a mask on at all times. And according to AIA guidelines, the players are not allowed to participate in post-game handshakes with opposing teams.
I'm not very concerned about handshakes with a player. Plus, we just spent 60 minutes touching each other and playing football against each other. So I don't really see the harm in a handshake line.
Our kids, when they go to play a game, have not been cleared, per se, like they do in college or professional sports. There's a little more risk.
With a higher risk, coaches are making sure they follow all safety protocols.
I'm one of those guys, I'm just totally jacked that we're getting a chance to play. And if that's what we have to do to get a chance to play, the coaches, I hate masks. I hate them with a passion, but I'll wear them because that's what we got to do.
Football kicks off Friday night, and the coaches and players will do anything to ensure they continue coaching and playing the sport they love. That chance to play will have to wait for two teams, as the highly anticipated matchup of Saguaro High versus Chaparral has been canceled. A member of the Chaparral team tested positive for COVID, resulting in all Firebird football activities to be shut down for 2 weeks, leaving parents upset about what will happen to their season.
In those 2 weeks, the team can't have any team activities, no workouts, no nothing. I mean, it puts the team at a huge unfair situation, and I think there's a lot of concerns of whether they can be prepared to play that game safely.
As for Saguaro, the school currently sits at number 2 on the Max Preps preseason rankings coming into this opening weekend. The other 4 are set to kick off their seasons on time, including the number 1 ranked and defending 4-time state champion Chandler High visiting Liberty High School. From preps to the pros, the Cardinals added a veteran presence on defense after they signed 33-year-old safety TJ Ward. The former Bronco, Brown, and Buccaneer has not seen the field since 2017. The 2-time Pro Bowler signed to the practice squad Thursday after injuries took a hit to the safety position.
Well, first with TJ, he just got here yesterday, and he is right now in the practice squad, and he wouldn't know enough about our game plan or our system to play in a game on Sunday. That move was made more for the future.
Count Brazil and England among the growing list of nations that pay their male and female soccer athletes equally. Is the U.S. next? An ASU professor weighs in as reporter Shane Diefenbach explains how the U.S. women's national team can win the fight against unequal pay.
Soccer in the United States is growing, whether it be the MLS expanding to 30 teams by 2022 or the women's national team winning back-to-back World Cups. But for the women, there's a bigger goal in mind.
Firing for the back post, and it's another one for Arizona State!
The U.S. women's national team may be ahead of the competition talent-wise, but in terms of equity, U.S. women are now behind. Brazil and England are the most recent out of 5 countries to announce equal pay for men and women in soccer. Former professional track and field athlete and sports historian Victoria Jackson says our eyes should be on the next collective bargaining agreement after the current player contract expires in 2021.
I think the new CBA is where we should be waiting and watching since the judge pressed pause on the equal pay and discrimination lawsuit, and even said they couldn't appeal right away.
In 2019, more than 1 billion viewers tuned in to watch women compete in World Cup soccer, setting a new record for viewership. Even when the women's games are broadcast to a wider audience, the stigma of women's soccer still shows. Karen Bardsley of Manchester City recalls differences in how broadcasters covered the match she played right before Arsenal and Liverpool's men's clubs faced off in August.
A lot of the pundits and the commentary was about, how the pitch was pockmarked with stud marks and things like that, and how the more important game should have been played first.
Beyond cultural stigma, the U.S. women's national team suffered a legal setback in May when a judge ruled against their class action lawsuit claiming unequal pay and gender-based discrimination by the United States Soccer Federation. Moving forward, experts say sports culture and contracts will need to shift.
There should be a culture and a philosophical position of equal support. And we saw this with the WNBA's new CBA, that there had been a dramatic step up in what WNBA players would now get with their kind of historic CBA that was negotiated in the early spring of this year.
In Los Angeles, Shane Diefenbach, Cronkite News.
The set piece, fine.
To the Phoenix Rising, who take on the LA Galaxy at home Saturday. The Rising returned to the field after a controversial end to their game Wednesday against San Diego. Loyal FC walked off the pitch in protest at halftime of that game after Colin Martin accused Junior Flemings of shouting a homophobic slur. Flemings denies the incident. The Phoenix Rising are set to play on Saturday at Casino Arizona Field at 7:30 p.m. The big story this weekend is, the return of high school football. But the Arizona Cardinals begin a stretch of 3 away games, starting with a visit to the 1-2 Carolina Panthers Sunday at 10 a.m. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you for tuning in again. My name is Reed Harmon, and we'll see you next time.